Good afternoon, team. Can you hear me?
Hey there.
Yes.
Good stuff. Are we all ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, we are.
Let's go live then. Very good. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Startup Growth Q&A. It's our 126th session. We've been doing these for over 3 years now, and we've had we've had around 270,000 people join us so far, as we've helped over 1,500 founders. Now, the idea is quite simple. Today, we're here to help founders grow your business, hopefully from zero to hero. Whether you've got questions on user, vendor, partner, client acquisition, some growth hacks perhaps, go-to-market, or just sales, marketing, advertising, branding, and all that jazz, this is the place to be. I've got 3 brilliant panelists with us today. They've all been there and done it. And the idea is quite simple. You see, unfortunately, over 90% of startups fail. And the top 3 reasons for that are 1, market fit, 2, running out of money, and 3, not having the right people. But guess what? When it comes down to it, there's only one thing that matters: your ability to sell enough of your product or service. If you don't do that, you've had it. Hopefully, we'll be able to come up with some ideas to help you with that today. We are now simultaneously live on Facebook and YouTube. However, please be aware that we're unable to monitor your questions there. So if you do have any questions for us today, it's best you join us here live on LinkedIn Live Audio. You can either do that via our website, startuptoscaleup.club, and then find today's session, which is Startup Growth Q&A 126, or you can go straight onto LinkedIn, search for Startup to Scale Up Club, and the last post there, it's today's event. If and when you're ready to ask a question, all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with whatever question you have for us. Would also appreciate it if you know any founders that would benefit from this, if you just tag them in the comments on this event. And the way to do that, there's 3 dots at the top of your screen on your right hand side there. If you click on that, then it says view event details, and then that takes you straight onto the comments, and you can tag whoever you want. Now, we're going to do some quick introductions, and then my panelists are going to give us their biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth, and then we'll take some questions from yourselves. So, I'm your host. My name's Anton Call. I'm an Albanian in London, working with startups normally right after they get investment. I embed within their teams and help them hire and keep the right people. I also do some growth advisory work for a few other startups, and lately I've been helping some angels and family offices with their due diligence and assessments. And now I guess we can go to Nadine, and then John and Marcin, please. Nadine.
Thanks, Anton. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Nadine Campbell. I am a marketing and business consultant, which I've been doing for many decades. Not many decades, I'm not that old, but I've been doing it for quite some time, working with some of the biggest brands in the world, helping them with acquisition, retention, and growth, expanding into new markets and territories. I've ran my own consultancy since 2012. And in 2020, I started a business focusing on helping diverse entrepreneurs to start, scale, get growth and funding into their businesses, run a couple of annual events, help with accelerators, mentor, advisor, and more. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you all today. So thank you, Anton, for having me.
Thank you for joining us. John, welcome to our stage. It's your first time with us. Hopefully, we'll see you many more times to come in the new year. Take it away.
Hopefully, thank you. So John Downie, CEO and founder of SteadyPay, which is a London-based fintech. So we specialize in embedded finance solutions for, we'll call it the unbanked, or the people that struggle with traditional credit. And we've been going for a good 6-7 years, multiple funding rounds, lots of challenges, which I'm sure we can get to in some of the questions. and I previously built and exited a consulting business prior to founding SteadyPay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, John. Marcin?
Thanks, Anton. Number 126 is an impressive one, so congrats. And Marcin Kierdelewicz here. I'm a CEO and founder of 𝗦𝘁𝗿 We are actually a technology business, so we do have our own technology to build growth platforms to deliver like business process automation at scale. For the growth areas, we do actually build automation platforms for to automate business development, sales, marketing, and so on. We also work with a good number of partners to actually provide fully managed services for our clients, programs like product market fit or international expansions and so on. So yeah, that's about us. And thanks for having me here, and thanks for the opportunity.
Gotta love modern technology. I don't know what happened there, but I think I just got kicked out. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
You can.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so you've heard them, people. We've got 3 brilliant experts on growth with us today, and all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your questions. By the way, despite the fact that we've had all those people join us so far, because we've changed platforms, as you can see, I think we need all the help we can get to spread the word. So please do feel free to either tag people in the comments or share it in your network. We'd really appreciate it. And once we're waiting for some questions, just to remind everybody, we run 4 regular events per week. So if your questions today are not on growth, please save them for those other events. So on Mondays, it's talent. On Tuesdays, product and tech. On Wednesdays, obviously, as you can see today, it's growth. And on Thursdays, which is tomorrow, that is on fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And you can RSVP to any of them via our site, startuptoscaleup.club. For those of you that are tuned in via Facebook or YouTube, please be aware we're unable to monitor your questions there, so you would need to join us live here on LinkedIn Live Audio. Now, if the panel wouldn't mind, let's start with John, then Marcin, then Nadine, please. What would you say are your biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to early stage growth? John?
So I'd say from my perspective, in terms of early stage growth, obviously, don't try and grow faster than you're capable of. And what I really mean by that is, if you're looking to grow, what you're really looking to prove out is that you have a workable growth engine. So when you think about early stage, I've got a product. Some people like that product. Now, how am I actually planning to distribute this particular product? So for early stage businesses and investment, or to attract investment, what you're really thinking is, can I show demonstrable growth? Now, you can do that in multiple ways. You're looking to really build out that growth curve and show both prospective investors as well as your customers that you're growing in a fundamentally sustainable way. So that the do's, validate early, spend time with your customers, understand what they actually want, take on the board that customer feedback. Occasionally do some of the do the unscalable. So build a little bit for some customers, but be careful that you're not just the tail's wagging the dog for those customers. So don't let the tail wag the dog and build a product for a single customer. In terms of other sort of key don'ts for me, don't listen to your investors. They just like someone that can be I like watching a good football game, but I'm not Messi. I can't play like him, and I probably couldn't coach a Premier level team either. So make sure that the advice you're taking is from founders, and that those founders are ideally only a stage or two ahead of you. So it's not that you can't talk to someone who's just done a Series C and get some good advice, but the best advice is someone who is just ahead of you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for that, John. Marcin?
Sure, happy to share my experience with that. And yeah, I speak a lot to our clients about that, especially at the early stage. I always say that actually the most important is that you should build a path to get to profitability ASAP. I think this is the most important part. I would say, yes, sell big vision, execute with agility, and focus really on getting those first early customers as quickly as you can. So shape your value proposition in a way that you can actually do it pretty quickly. I've seen a lot of companies that build the value propositions that are don't provide enough value and are not expensive enough for founders to cover the cost of running of their business and actually build a proper foundation. So that's probably one that I want to share in terms of a do's. In terms of a don'ts, I think the biggest don't I would advise is avoid negativity. Being a founder means that you need to be bold, come to a market with bold statements, with something that will potentially disrupt the market in the future. But you use your knowledge and expertise to do things in a different way, and that's what you're selling. That's your unique selling point, and that's your competitive advantage. What it means also, you will be faced with hundreds and thousands of people that will tell you, no, this is wrong, this is not how you should do it, and all of that. And I would just say, yeah, avoid that negativity, just move on and just talk to people that see something positive in what you're offering.
Thank you very much, Marcin. Nadine?
Okay, I'm going to start with my don't. My first advice would be, don't chase the money too early. There is a sort of smoke and mirrors when it comes to the need for funding for startups, and VC funding specifically. It's quite unlikely that your business will immediately get VC funding before you have tested, validated, shown traction in the market, and done a real proof of concept. So the first thing you really need is sweat equity. It needs to be your time and your effort to ensure that you have a product that's going to work way before you start spending money. And that goes to marketing campaigns, hiring people. The first thing you need to do is just spend a lot of time ensuring what you're doing is right. And so my do would be validate. So ensure that you know that what you're doing is going to work. And that doesn't mean that it's a problem that only you have. It needs to be thoroughly researched. And when I say research, we're saying speak to 100 people. Ensure that what they think is aligned to what you think. And if they do come up with something different, incorporate that. That's what research is for. It helps us to understand that what we're doing makes sense. And doing it in this way, first heavy validation and market research, will save you a ton of time later when you get to doing your pitch and you realize actually you haven't got a valid business, right? So yeah, that's my do's and don'ts. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that, Nadine. Really appreciate it. Right, Joe, quick reset of the conversation then. By the way, panel, I've put a question that was sent in to us in our chat as I'm resetting the room, if you want to have a look at that in our group message. So this is Startup Growth Q&A. We're doing this to help founders with whatever questions you may have for us today in terms of growing your business and taking it to the next stage. Those questions could be on anything to do with growth. So whether you want to know about user acquisition, vendor, partner, client acquisition, some growth hacks, perhaps sales, marketing, advertising, branding, go-to-market, and all that jazz. If you've got any such questions, all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage. You introduce yourself and then fire away with your question. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. If you're tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that unfortunately we're unable to monitor your questions there. So you'll need to come and join us live here on LinkedIn. You can either do that by going to our site, startuptoscaleup.club, and click on Startup Growth Q&A 126, or just go onto LinkedIn, search for Startup to Scale Up Club, and click on the last event we posted there, which is today's session. If, by the way, your questions are not on growth, save them for the other, and you've got questions for other stuff, save them for the other events we do. Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising, and they're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. Now, whilst we're waiting for some of you to get the bottle to come up, I guess we can go to a question that was sent in to us. And like I said, I'll put it in the group chat here, but I'll read it out loud. So this startup is a B2B marketing automation platform. They're based in Cardiff, they're at seed stage. And she says, agencies find the platform too generic. Our marketing automation platform isn't gaining traction with agencies who find it lacks tailored solutions. What go-to-market strategies, such as creating industry-specific feature bundles or offering co-marketing opportunities for early adopters and hosting invite-only workshops to showcase advanced capabilities, what could attract and retain basically these clients? What we can do, perhaps we can start with Marcin, then Nadine, then John. What would you do in this case, Marcin?
Thank you, Anton. And well, I agree with their first statement. If they say that their B2B marketing automation platform is too generic, I do agree with that, because today on the market, there are over 25,000 different tools that are called like MarTech tools in that category. Most of them call themselves some sort of B2B marketing automation platforms. I believe you cannot just be like that. You need to actually be much more specific on what is it that you do, because marketing is very wide area, and there is no one platform that can tackle everything in that space. So when they say they're not gaining attraction because it lacks tailored solutions, this is actually a great feedback that they're getting. So instead of building something very generic, they probably should focus on tackling 2-3 specific areas that they can cover very well, and then on top actually provide like customizations, tailored solutions or programs, via managed services on top, etc. That's what I would do. I would really focus more on actually what that value proposition is that they're building, and focus on building that, rather than actually coming up with how can you take whatever they have and bring it to the market with different go-to-market strategies. Because if the platform doesn't have a fit on the market, you can use whatever go-to-market strategy you want, it will just not take on the market. So yeah, fix the program, the platform first, make sure that those agencies actually are happy with using it, to give you good feedback, and then think about other strategies. That's what I would do.
Thank you very much, Marcin. Nadine?
Thank you, Martin. There were some great insights. A couple of ones I was going to say, so I'm going to have to go for something different, but that was great. Definitely hone in on who is your customer. Okay, so in terms of what are their exact pain problems, is it the fact that when they go on the platform they find it difficult to navigate? Does it not tie into the output that they need to give to their clients? A lot of times clients require monthly reporting in a particular way, which then fits into what they report to the board. So is it a case of the dashboard that you have, or you don't even have a dashboard for them to use? It's just a case of you're providing some marketing tools for them. So really create that alignment with your customer and ensure that it is what they need. Can it be tailored? so that for the particular agency you're working with, that they can create their own view of the dashboard. That is usually what works for marketing teams. As well as that, create that relationship. Within marketing, it's all about working with people. So if you are creating an external advisory board with some of the agencies that you absolutely want to work with, and they're feeding into the way that you create your business and the way that your tools work, that is going to be an absolute win, because they're going to feel like they're part of the service that you're creating, and it goes from being generic to being specific to them. And then off the back of that, now you're creating case studies, which you can then go and get more agencies. So it's really about aligning with your customer, ensuring that what you have is actually what they need and not what you think they need, especially about working in specific sectors, retail, tech, or whatever that agency might have. Ensure that the tools and the offerings that you have align to that, and they're not just, you know, for the whole industry, very generic. So take the feedback, work on it step by step, get people in to help you grow and create the right service, and then go from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. John, any thoughts on this?
I think well covered by Marcin and Nadine. So thank you. I mean, what I'd probably add to it is for this sort of early stage company that's really looking for those looking for some wins, and it's sort of a refinement on what Nadine suggested, which is trying to pick those 2 or 3 agencies you might get on well with, and really look at co-creating a solution that you can then eventually, hopefully, case study and generalize. So, you know, from those agencies, when they're saying it's too generic, you know, what almost that customer angle, what are they looking to achieve, and then optimize for that. So if they specialize in, you know, we'll call it, you know, retail marketing, fine. And, you know, what they're really looking to do is they fundamentally optimize for conversion, then actually try and tailor some tools, or, you know, make it, you know, it sounds like you do have some advanced tools. So start to focus in on that, and then be able to hero out those particular products. Because I think as the other 2 speakers sort of said, you know, the marketing automation platform or marketing platform space is crowded. So, you know, you need to shout loud, but also be quite specific in, you know, why you're better. And, you know, a lot of the time that better is finding that niche and hammering it until you can't scale that niche anymore, and then finding another niche and hammering it until you can't scale that anymore.
Thank you very much for that, John. Well, you've heard them, people. Those were some brilliant perspectives in terms of your relationship with these agencies. And like they all pretty much said, you know, you want to focus on speaking with them, building it with them in mind. And that's your first step. And that's quite a good, solid step to have. Again, if you're tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please remember that you need to join us live here on LinkedIn. Either search for Startup to Scale Up Club on LinkedIn, and it's the last post there, or go to our site, startuptoscaleup.club, and click on Startup Growth Q&A 126. If you've got any questions on how to grow your business, just raise your hand and we'll bring you up on stage. In the meantime, if you're being shy, I guess we can go through a few more questions that were sent in to us. Where was that one? In Birmingham? Yep. So we're a seed stage Birmingham clean tech for industrial energy monitoring. By the way, I'll put that in our chat, panelists. We're getting resistance from manufacturers to pilot untested technology. Our industrial energy monitoring system struggles to secure pilots due to manufacturers' risk aversion. How can we create a risk-free early adopter program using co-funded trial setups, shared ownership of performance data, and clear cost-benefit analysis to reduce concerns and attract initial customers in this conservative market? I'll give you my quick 2 pence and then pass it on to the experts here. One, it goes back to what they said in the last question, i.e., to build that relationship with these people, and i.e., build it with them in mind. But two, you also need to add some credibility, and often for that you need to find a partner, whether it is somebody in the industry, or perhaps you want to get in touch with the likes of Innovate UK, or maybe an association, a trade association that deals with that monitoring stuff. That's where I would start. But let's see what the team got to say. I'm sure they might want to get into it a bit deeper. So perhaps this time we can start with Nadine, then John, then Marcin, please.
Thank you. And also for these last two questions have been good with detail. So thank you for that, whoever's sending them in. That's really helpful. This is not an area I'm very well versed in. So I'm going to talk a little bit generically, but I'm going to follow on from Anton, and it's about partnering with someone for credibility. So I'm sure there's going to be a hub for manufacturing in your area, and it may be a case of you go to them to see how they can help you get some pilots running. That will help make the companies that you work with feel a little bit more comfortable that this is a pilot, and there isn't heavy expectation, that's going to damage their credibility, right? So start with that, and you'll know it's your industry. You can go and have a look where they are and who they are. Then when it comes to risk aversion, I'm going to focus in on this a little bit. So sometimes it's outlaying time or money to do this pilot test. So you can make them feel more comfortable if you can offer some kind of guarantee or, money back, for example, if they test with you and there is an initial sum they need to pay to do that. What happens if it all goes wrong? I always said the wrong thing then. It all goes wrong. What happens then? Are they able to restart the program? Do they get money back guarantee? Think about those kind of assurances that you can put in place. Is this something that insurance covers? I don't know. We need to think about how they can test this, but be able to leave if they don't feel comfortable, or get their money back if it doesn't work. So really think about that risk reduction. The second side that I would also look at is whenever you are a startup and you're trying to get this traction, go to other people in a similar position. There's going to be other smaller manufacturers, that aren't enterprise level, that also would enjoy running this pilot test if it means that there's some benefits for them in the end, reduction in the cost that they're paying, reduction in the electricity. Do they have sustainability goals? A lot of businesses that are starting up now that are looking for funding are thinking about those sustainability goals in order to make their business more attractive. So that's a wonderful place that you can go, and you're speaking the same language with them, And on the other side of it, are they ready to change? Are they ready to go from their old system to a new system? And you've come just at the right time for them to begin to test that and slowly transition into a new system with your service and product. So I would start small, go with those that can do it, that it isn't so risky that it's going to be business critical if it goes wrong. And also think about who can help you in terms of credibility, like Anton was mentioning at the beginning. And, go slowly, test and learn, and create those case studies off the back of it that you can then leverage to get bigger and bigger partnerships. And then you'll be flying. So good luck and well done on sustainability projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. And if I may just add, just before we go to John, whilst we're happy that, this is a question that provides quite a bit of detail, we're still not absolutely thrilled that you're not here. So please don't make this a habit, people. If you do want to get new ideas, or you want to kind of use as a sounding board, or simply want to get unstuck, please join us live, because it makes it for a much better experience. And we're also able to then give you sort of any follow-ups that we need to, so that we can end up giving you the best possible answer. Take it away, John. What are your thoughts on this?
Thanks, Anton, and thanks, Nadine. So my thoughts on this one, twofold. maybe 3. So if we're struggling for traction, what I've seen work quite well in a lot of businesses is making sure that you have a trusted industry expert on your staff, so advisory boards, chairman of the board, whatever, that, so effectively think grey hair, a grey-haired person that used to work for one of the customers, one of your potential clients, is pretty much what you're looking for, or someone that looks a lot like your potential client. One, you can get a lot of insights out of them. 2, this grey-haired person hopefully has worked in this industry for a very long time, who has a lot of connections, and it's actually that trust capital that you're going to be leveraging for part of that early risk aversion, because they're the ones who are going to help you get it across the line with these manufacturers. The second part, which we sort of touched on a little bit already, but we can reduce some of that risk through a lot with a decent amount of involvement. And to echo Anton's point, if we had a bit of a two-way dialogue, we'd find this out. Government and council programs. So depending on where this manufacturer sits, there's a lot of local authorities, many of which people have never heard of, and local authority bodies that have various programs for particular areas for particular periods of time as well. So I can guarantee you there are a number of local authorities that have money to spend in the clean tech space, and that would actually help insulate those manufacturers, because you're now bringing a level of council funding and potentially council or local authority contracts to play for that manufacturer, depending on the industry.
Good point. Thank you very much, John. Marcin, last but not least, what's your thoughts on this?
Thank you for that, and I'm happy to share my experience. I've been working with a number of clients that are bringing products into actual manufacturing vertical, and I agree they're not very innovative, and it takes a lot of time to get your foot on the door there. But what I would say is, they say that they're getting resistance from manufacturers to pilot untested technology. So I would say, actually, well, first get it tested, and get that visibility. If you're based in Birmingham, actually, just not far from you in Coventry, there is an institution called MTC it's called MTC, so Manufacturing Technology Center. I actually did work with them, with a couple of our clients. You can get partnership with them where you could build your lab, physical lab within the MTC facilities there, get it tested and get it recognized there. The MTC also is an association of over 100 biggest manufacturers in the UK. So they can actually help you with opening the doors for many of them, and including the biggest ones. So my advice would be get that lab. If you cannot get it co-founded with any of the manufacturers, get it into MTC, get it established there, and then build awareness of your lab in kind of that way. And yes, and then obviously it's a long sales cycle, but then try to move that lab from the MTC into your first initial client. That's that's what I would do with kind of a knowledge I have, experience, and the information that they have provided.
Thank you very much for that, Marcin. And if you don't mind, Marcin, would you be able to tag or put down their website or tag them here in the comments at MTC? So you know how to do it. You click on the 3 dots at the top of your screen, and then the event comes up, and then you've got the comments there. Would you mind doing that, so that hopefully this person may see it and kind of explore them a bit further?
Oh, no, at all. And I'll do it. It's it's the-mtc.org, but I will put it in the comments. I also know a couple of people actually there, because I did work with them. So if anybody is interested, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to make some introductions as well.
Perfect. So if you're either listening to us live via YouTube or here or Facebook, or whether you may be listening, or if you actually listen to the recording of it, since you sent the question in writing, then please reach out to Marcin as well if you want further info on them. That would be brilliant. Right, Jill, thank you very much for that. Just before we go on to Christina, who's come up on stage, a quick reset of the conversation. This is Startup Growth Q&A. We've been doing these for over 3 years now. It's our 126th session today, and we're here to help startups like yourselves with whatever questions you may have on growing your business to the next stage. The idea is quite simple. If you're a founder in the room and you've got any such questions, all you have to do is raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage, introduce yourself, and then fire away with your question. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. It's a learning curve for us all. And by the way, today we'll hopefully be able to help you with anything to do with growth. So whether it's user, client, vendor, partner acquisition, go-to-markets, growth hacks, or just sales, marketing, advertising, branding, and all that stuff. That's all you need to do is raise your hand and we'll bring you up. If you're tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, please be aware that unfortunately we're not monitoring questions there. Therefore, you would need to join us live here on LinkedIn, either by going to our site, startuptoscaleup.club, and click join under Startup Growth Q&A 126, or you can just go onto LinkedIn and search for Startup to Scale Up Club. And the last post there, it's today's event. By the way, we run 4 regular events, so if your questions are not on growth, save them for the other Q&As we do. Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising. They're all from 12 to 1 p.m. UK time. And by the way, we've had 270,000 people join us so far. None of that would have happened without people like Nadine, John, and Marcin. So please feel free to show your love to them, i.e. follow them here, reach out to them, and obviously they do this for free. So it doesn't mean that they will keep on doing stuff for free and you harass them on call after call. But the idea is that they're here to help. And now, without further ado, Christina, welcome back to our stage. I haven't gotten back to you yet about having a chat in regards to your pitch deck, but I definitely will. Nevertheless, please introduce yourself and fire away with whatever you have for us today.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Amazing. Okay, so no worries on the pitch deck, of course, take your time. And I am a sports tech founder. We have built a platform that is revolutionizing endurance sports by integrating wearables. For athletes, we are all-in-one solution for registration, training. You are able to join a community of competitors before race day, so you see where you stand in your ability and your place before the big day. And for race producers, we are a revenue increaser through data acquisition and a risk management tool by reducing cardiac emergencies on the course. So that's the little blurb. So my question is, I am getting ready, big news, to onboard our first customer. We're really not ready to put our first customer on the platform, but I've heard the message over and over again, get your first customer before you're actually ready. And I'm finally in a place to listen. So I'm meeting with them before Christmas, and I want to come to them with a document to sign, a contract saying that when the product is available, they're going to onboard their athletes and onboard their races at $1 per head. And I'm unsure as to where to get the contract. I don't want to have to pay attorney. It doesn't feel like it's so high stakes that I need to pay attorney for this. And like when I onboard advisors, I use the FAST agreement for Founders Institute. And I'm thinking maybe YC or Techstars or someone has just a simple agreement out there, or if just doing a simple, Rocket Lawyer or Google search and using one of the templates will suffice. But yes, big milestone, big moment.
That is a huge moment, and very well done, Christina. I'm sure it will be one of many, many, many more to come. I'll give you my quick 2 pence and then I'll pass you on to my experts. For contracts, Christina, my advice is, obviously, if you can, try and do it for free, but don't try and wing it, because contracts can be quite tricky, and you definitely don't want to mess that up, especially since it's your first client. So if I may ask, Christina, you said you've got some advisors. Are these people, are any of them in a position to help you with that contract? I.e., do they have access to anything like that? Or maybe they may not do it themselves, but they might know somebody who can do that. So try and leverage that. Number 2, I would, if you haven't already done so, I would make a list of at least 10 potential competitors, or not necessarily straightforward competitors, but in a sort of similar adjacent field, if that makes sense. And just try and find out if you can get their contract templates, or speak to them, or whatever that case may be. 3, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of chamber in your region, or maybe there's some kind of sort of in your county where you are, you're in North Miami, or sorry, not Miami. Where are you based again?
West Palm Beach, Florida, but like it's an easy train ride to Fort Lauderdale. From Miami to West Palm, it's really, I can have day meetings. It's like super easy for me to get to any of those places.
Very good. So I'm sure the areas there, Christina, i.e. the local authorities, will have some kind of hub that will help you with this, and it's worth going through to that. Or perhaps there's some state stuff there, whatever it may be within those circles. That's where I would look for. I wouldn't wing it if I were you, in terms of kind of just but maybe, so for example, in the UK, there's Simply Business, if I'm not mistaken. You pay £35 or something like that, and then you can download tons and tons of their templates. So that's someone, so the equivalent of that in Florida, that might be worth to try and see. I'm just trying to think. I can't think of an actual name. I'm sorry. I can't think of an actual name where I can direct you. But this is what I would do if I were you. But I'd love to hear if the others here. So perhaps we can start with Marcin, then Nadine, then John this time. Marcin, any thoughts on this? How would you go about it?
Sure, and Christina, big congrats on getting the first client. This is like a massive step, and I disagree with Anton on one thing, that you shouldn't charge them. I actually think you should definitely charge them. but you know, so what I would do is obviously, you know, you need to build a foundations for getting. Yes.
Sorry, I think you misunderstood me. I didn't mean don't charge the clients.
Okay. All right.
So I guess I must have. Yeah.
I'm sorry. But so going back, I think you know, Christina, what you need to do, I think, is you just not need to get that first deal in and have it signed, but also you need to build actually a assets for, you know, having more of them. So like if this is a platform, you definitely need what everybody calls terms and conditions. The good thing is, yeah, you can really research a lot of internet and build whatever terms and conditions, you know, almost copy and paste, you know, similar terms and conditions from similar platforms, but create a page that will actually says, you know, your platform terms and conditions, state it all there. The good thing is that, you know, you can update terms and conditions later on, so they don't have to be ideal, and you know, you will all have a right to update them. Then what I would say is, you know, you want to, if you don't have, you want to set up some sort of a CRM where you can actually track those sales opportunities, you know, for smaller businesses, you know, early stages, and we use it at Miami as well. We use actually HubSpot. The advantage of HubSpot is that it also allows you to actually build what they call quotes in it. And quotes are, think of it, it's like order forms. And the good thing about those order forms is that you can actually build them electronically, and depends on, you know, how you want to charge that client. You also want to do two things together with getting a signature under that order. So you can create like an online quote, you know, in HubSpot. They will be able to sign it electronically. And if it's a small kind of a value subscription, probably up to $2,000 or $3,000 per month, you could actually integrate a Stripe account directly, and you can ask them to put credit card details on it while they're signing. And this is going to be super important for you, because if you're charging model in future, and you don't have to charge them, you know, anything like at the beginning. I understand, you know, you will charge them later on, but at least, you know, they will put the details, and you will have everything established to be able to charge them in the future. So you know, that Stripe will kind of connect their kind of, you know, card that they can expense, or your business card, you know, to use it for you know, covering your invoices, and you will have it there already. And then, you know, in Stripe you can later on manage like how much you charge them for what, and for, you know, for what sort of periods of times. And the clients will have also, of course, options to you know, to get full protection from Stripe, you know, if they disagree with anything and all of that. So Stripe is a good platform for that. If it's a bigger contract or a bigger company, you might also need something what is called you need to become their approved vendor. So you know, if they're bigger, just ask them if they have anything that is called you know, vendor onboarding form, because that's something that, you know, you'll have to fill in, and they will have to put your company on their systems for them to be able to raise what they call the PO, so purchase order, and then, you know, you will be able to place invoices against that purchase order. But yes, I would say, you know, establish this foundation as terms, you know, for like legal terms, get the CRM online form, and then, you know, or ask already to like you know, put the credit card details so you can charge them in the future, or you know, get onboarded, you know, as their approved vendor, and be able to kind of raise the invoice against the PO.
Thank you very much, Marcin. Nadine, any thoughts on getting this contract somewhere?
Okay, thank you. First of all, Christina, well done. That's amazing. You've got your first client. This is it. This is when it starts. Excitement goes from here. So good job. I would say I did the similar thing to what you're asking about in the beginning. I used to use Rocket Lawyer. I think they are perfectly adequate for a startup to begin to use, depending on how big you want to go. And what you're doing sounds really exciting, you know, in terms of the number of potential clients you could have. It could be something quite big here. So you know, as one of the other advisors said earlier, you will need a suite of contracts eventually. So you will need to migrate on from Rocket Lawyer to a proper contract. And once you've outlaid the money to pay for that contract, you can reuse that for your other clients, amending it slightly, obviously not the key terms, but, you know, amending it depending on what type of client you've got. So I would say invest in that now if you're planning to have a you know, business that has longevity. It shouldn't cost you too much. I was going to recommend our partner lawyers, which are great for startups, but we're based in the UK. I'm happy to ask them because they are also startups. And like I always say, if you work with another startup, you'll usually get a really good service and price. So I'll ask them as well whether they do US contracting. But if not, as you've been advised, find someone local, get a really good contract, get it done properly so that you've got all the terms included, something that you can reuse going forwards. But yeah, I think you're set. So great advice from the others. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadine. John, any thoughts on this? How would you go about it?
Yes, I mean some overlap, but some differences with the others. So I mean, I actually agree with Nadine that Rocket Law is quite good for early stage. The one thing I would probably disagree with, while also saying congratulations to Christina on the first customer, is a lot of the time, if you're launching quite early, it's very difficult to think forward to all of the, we'll call it lessons learned from your first 5 customers as to what you should put in a contract. So a lot of what I'd probably say is, here's a different opinion. Combine Rocket Law with a bit of ChatGPT, and you'll get a half decent standard contract for you to use to start with, and your first 5 customers will actually give you the additional terms you need to add in there. So I'll use an easy example. Like, let's say you don't put a CPI or some sort of cost increase into your contract. Eventually, you'll learn that you need one, and so you can actually put the price up over time. Or you forget, or you don't have a API. Let's say you're an API-based business, you don't have an API rate limit in your contract for customers. So there's lots of some of these clauses you don't really know you need until later. And no matter how good the lawyer is, a lot of the time they don't know your business, so they'll actually struggle to think of the particular clause that you need. The other option that you've got, which if you need a little bit more time for this customer, since you said you can be quite early, is do a heads of terms pre-Christmas, and then follow that up with a more detailed contract. Happy to. I could send you a head of terms template, or you can get one off Rocket Law. It's pretty easy. That's pretty all for me.
Well, thank you very much to all 3 of you. I hope you found it helpful, Christina. If you've got any follow-ups, please raise your hand and we'll bring you back up again. I can see that you might be having some issues with your connection to LinkedIn Live audio. By the way, for you and the others here, I have put a link in the comments, with the recording of this session, which is being done via YouTube. So if you've missed any parts of this, just look in the comments, and there's a link on YouTube where you can see the recording and catch anything you might have missed. We now have 8 minutes to go. We're here to help founders with whatever questions you may have when growing your business from 0 to hero, really. Your questions today can be on anything to do with business growth. So whether it's user, vendor, partner, client acquisition. By the way, team, I've put another question that was sent in to us if we're not getting any live ones. So that's in the comments, in the group message, if you'd like to have a look at it. So those questions could also be on growth hacks or go-to-market, or perhaps just generic sales, marketing, advertising, and branding stuff. There are no right or wrong questions, and there's no need to be shy. Just raise your hand and we'll bring you up. If you've got questions on other matters, save them for the other events we run. Monday's talent, Tuesday's product and tech, Wednesday's growth, and Thursday's fundraising. And you can RSVP to any of them via our website, startuptoscaleup.club. If you're finding any value in this, please tag somebody you know that may benefit from it, or perhaps just share it with your network. You can share this by clicking the share button here in your window. Now, if there are no live ones, there's a question I'll put in our group. So this is, Edinburgh. Okay. So we're based in Edinburgh. We're raising Series A health tech startup, offering a remote monitoring solution for chronic conditions. Whilst we've built relationships with a handful of private healthcare providers, closing deals has been slow due to the long approval cycles in the healthcare industry. How can we restructure our sales approach to include phased trials and ROI-focused case studies that accelerate decision-making and build confidence amongst risk-averse clients in this highly regulated sector? Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll give you my quick 2 pence and then pass it on to our team here. I have had some exposure. Many moons ago, I was a co-founder at a company that tried to sell actually to the NHS, also private, but mainly to the NHS. and it's a bleeding nightmare. So my advice is this: go and find an advisor, either pay them or give them equity or as a co-founder, whatever it is, who is in that industry, who has got a track record of selling to that industry and not just working, selling to that industry, because otherwise I don't think you've I don't think you're going to get things done right, in my experience. But let's see what the others here say. Let's start with John, then Marcin, then Nadine, please. What are your thoughts on this, John?
Thanks, Anton. I sort of definitely echo yours that if you can get an advisor or expert that has expertise selling into this industry, appoint them, give them some equity, etc. Then I'd add on top of that I see you're based in Edinburgh. There are a number of local authorities that have quite strong health mandates and tend to use various accelerators and providers to deliver those mandates. So what I mean by that, if using an example, you can Google them. Capital Enterprise is a good example of one of the organisations that deliver a lot of accelerators in the health space, and there are others who do this, and they already partner with they get with the government bodies. They have access to grants. They have access to a lot of players that will move a number of these barriers, these sort of barriers to entry that you're facing. It will basically help you through the door and get in front of the right people. I mean, I think it's still definitely, no matter what you do, it's a long sales cycle, and health is a long sales cycle, and you're going to need to be prepared for that as a startup. I mean, different stream, but your funding strategy needs to match those longer sales cycles as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Son. Marcin?
Thank you. So I think one area is not clear to me is if the sales cycle is long because you need to do some regulatory approvals that are required, and that's what slows down, or is it because like your clients need something with it, etc. If it's your regulatory approval, well, you'll have to do it anyway. But you could try maybe to sell it not as a solution, but as what I called a lab solution. So when we sometimes do automation projects with our clients where we don't exactly know what the outcome is going to be and still kind of think of it as a trials and all of that, then we sell it as more as a lab idea where we just sell like 6-month long engagements with specific KPIs to be achieved at the end of the 6-month periods. And then we also state that this solution is not going to go into production, so that kind of helps us with avoiding having all the approvals before actually delivering the value to the client. So if that's possible, I'd probably say try that. In the end of the day, if you're health related solution, then it's good that there are some regulations, and if you need to do approvals, you still will have to do them. And that's what I would try. Just
no, that's brilliant.
What you saw.
And I'm glad I don't do this by myself. Both of you have come up with some two brilliant bits of advice. Both the accelerator side, that would open a lot of doors. And Marcin, just to clarify, from what I can read in the question, it is about the approval cycle within the company rather than the industry approval. So definitely, I think, again, I'm only speculating here, but I think that trial version of things might come in handy to somebody in those sort of situations. And last but not least, what are your thoughts on this, Nadine? How would you go about kind of maybe speeding that up somehow, or finding ways to speed it up?
Yeah, I have a slightly different angle, and I'm going to suggest a slight pivot to help you get this across the line a little bit quicker. So breaking up your pilots into smaller chunks. Sometimes when you're working with very large organizations, getting a trial through that lasts, 3 months is difficult, but getting a trial through that lasts, 30 days is slightly easier, because you're now able to implement and assess something quite quickly, and it's not a long-term decision that the business is making. So I would definitely think about breaking it into, smaller chunks. Maybe 30 days is first. If it works, then they go to 60 and so on. The other area I would say is think about charities. It's a slightly easier way to access a large amount of patients which will use your product or service. So they're going to be the end users that you would get to anyway. So you might as well go straight to those end users and generate demand, which will then influence the larger organizations taking you up on a trial basis. So the charities that you can go for, I would suggest you go for one particular type of chronic illness, focus in on that, become really specialized in that area, your speed of optimization, the way that you can tailor your product to that particular diagnosis, etc. And then you're able to become a real specialist and demonstrate how you can be agile in your business. And then from then you go to other chronic illnesses. But going to the customer first is sort of the newer way of working on a B2B basis. Organizations are driven by demand. We've seen that now when you look at how influencers can change the trajectory of products, okay? Just by having that amount of people demanding it, yeah, it becomes something that businesses have to take notice of. And that's exactly the same in anything that you're doing. If you get a large amount of customers in one charity or patients in one charity saying, I need this product because it's going to help me monitor, and in turn, it's going to make the advice that you give me more receptive and applicable to me when I see you in my appointments, then that's going to be something they want to take on. So to summarize, focus on one particular condition, look to go to patients first to drive traction with B2B, and then also try to break up your phasing into much shorter cycles. But yeah, good luck.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, those shorter cycles, or breaking it down in whatever works best. I think that could open a few more doors and speed this up as well, and just kind of get your foot through the door first, and then things become easier from then on. Right here, we are 2 minutes over the line, so apologies to my panel for keeping you longer than promised. Do you want to give us any good parting words before you leave? I won't insist on it because we're already over the line, so I'll leave it up to you. But John, Marcin, Nadine?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll keep it short and sweet. Try to be different. Everybody is following exactly the same cycle in business, and they're looking to others to emulate what others have done. But you're going to stand out when you do something slightly different, when you really hone in on your niche in the market and specialize in something, differentiate yourself from the others, and you'll actually drive more traction in that way. So don't follow the herd, be different, be bold, and you can definitely do it. Good luck. Thanks for listening.
And I agree with Nadine. If I can, quickly add my, last words, maybe, say is, go and find two or three, first clients for your business, and set also a time for yourself to actually find them. So, I usually advise go and do it within the 6 months time. Don't wait any longer. If you cannot do that, that probably means you need to change something within your value proposition or how you work or what is it that you build. But yes, go, if it's your friends, or build an engine or whatever, but go and find 2 or 3 clients within the 6 months. And good luck, everybody. It's not easy to build a startup.
Thank you very much, Marcin. Yes.
So I guess final thoughts from me is, I think it is a lot of hard work, and you need to, be resilient and keep pushing. My controversial piece of advice for everyone is that you actually learn more from winning than you do from failure. So winning and being working with and being mentored by serial winners. So find other winners to effectively help you with your motivation and lift you up. Teaches you how to win. You can learn from failure, but it is a slower path to success. So try and surround yourself with other people that are winning and pushing, and you will be more successful faster.
And with that, huge thanks to my panel for your pearls of wisdom and your time today. I really appreciate you. Also, thank you to all of you that tuned in, those that tuned in via YouTube or Facebook as well. And of course, mainly to those of you here on LinkedIn, and especially those that came up for questions like Christina. Please do feel free to join us live from now on. We run 4 regular rooms per week. Mondays talent, Tuesdays product and tech, Wednesdays growth, and Thursdays fundraising. You can RSVP to any of them via startuptoscaleup.club. On the other hand, from January, we're going to bring 2 more sessions, but those will be monthly. Will be a finances session on the third Friday of the month, and a legal one on the second Friday of each month. Otherwise, just remember, the startup journey can be both exciting but also quite challenging. So try to have some fun in the meantime, and be kind to yourself and everyone else for that matter too. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. We've got 3 brilliant investors on stage with us for startup fundraising. Have a great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are, and God bless you all. Bye-bye for now.